Hello, everyone, and welcome to CTI's Transition Tips. My name is Jacqueline Camden, and I'm with the Center on Transition Innovations. Today, I have the pleasure to introduce you to a wonderful employer in Virginia, Scott Jones.
Hello, Jacqueline.
Hello. Scott is the general manager at the Delta Hotels by Marriott, and he's here to talk to us about those critical skills that every student needs to be successful in the workforce. As an employer who has been instrumental in developing several student school-to-work programs at the hotel, Scott knows the value of starting to develop skills early and getting those work experiences. I'd like to welcome you, Scott. Thank you so much for being here. We're so glad that you can join us.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So to start us off, could you briefly talk about your role at Delta Hotels and your partnership with school divisions and agencies to develop student internship programs and having employees with disabilities?
Thank you, Jacqueline. Well, first of all, I'm a general manager of a business, and it happens to be a hotel, and we're looking for phenomenal employees. There's several different programs that we participate in, and I consider myself a true advocate. But again, foremost, I'm an advocate and trying to find employees that are going to fit our business model the best possible. We struggle to find employees that are going to fit our culture, and we find that it's truly a hidden secret to tap into certain available resources. In particular, a school-to-work program really fits that model. And as an advocate, I work really, really hard to make sure that I find an employment pool that's going to build our culture, and it's going to work towards bettering what we have to offer. And then, quite frankly, in the sense of being competitive with other employers.
Great. So we often hear from businesses that students graduating from high school and from college really need to be career ready. They need to have those essential skills, workplace readiness skills like positive work ethic, team work skills, and integrity that are really critical for success in any career. Can you tell us why workplace readiness skills are so important to success in the workplace?
Well, social skills are something a lot of people forget about and forget to spend time on. One of the most important features of hiring a phenomenal employee that's going to positively impact our culture is to have a person that's team ready, to have a person that understands the basics of really what I guess I would call soft skills, to understand those basics of how to introduce themselves, how to interview, and quite frankly, how to get to work. Just some of the basics to make sure that they can transition and we can see them as a great fit within the environment that we have. I truly, in interviewing any individual, I want to make sure that we're improving what we have, and we want to make ourselves better.
Yeah, it's so important. Those technical skills, knowing how to do the job are important, but having all of those other soft skills and workplace readiness skills are so critical. So if you could identify your top 3 to 5 workplace readiness skills that every employee needs for success on the job, what would those be?
Well, foremost, again, I refer to those soft skills. Individuals need to understand how to sell themselves, understand the basics of greeting, understand the basics of acknowledging when someone talks to you, understanding that eye-to-eye contact, understanding how to be a team player, understanding how to get to work, understanding, to make sure that they mention to their employer that they really want a job and they really need a job. So we can't forget about these basic skills. We can't forget about these, it's a feel-good moments of interviewing an individual, and you say to yourself, this person's really going to make us better. And of course, there's a job fit piece that we have to work really hard on. I'm really, really spoiled in the hotel business. We have about 40 different variations of jobs available. And I always tell people, if I have a feeling you're going to add positively to our culture, I know I can find a job fit for you. The point is, everyone has something to give. And we just got to match that up correctly. But I want to make sure that I'm working with an individual that has that positive attitude, really needs a job, really wants a job. So these are the basics that people have a tendency, for whatever reason, to forget about. They walk in the door with some sort of degree or something in their hand, and they really think that that buys them a job. And you've got to sell yourself.
Wow. Thank you for that. So, we know these skills like teamwork, that positive attitude, these are so important. Do you have any advice for how students can develop and enhance these skills? Any tips for building these skills at home would be particularly helpful, right now.
Well, the biggest thing I think people really make a mistake is they have a tendency to worry so much about the non-strengths, if you will, and they have a tendency to worry so much about that they forget to build on the strengths. Because one of the things that I find, and again, looking for that job fit scenario, I find to build on and to build confidence with the strengths of the individual. So at home, you're hopefully, or your teachers, if you're part of that school to work program, your teachers hopefully get to know the individuals, and your family obviously hopefully knows them as well, and they can help build on those strengths and just talk about the basics of interview and talk about the basics of how you would get to work, or maybe even practice getting up in the morning and dressing yourself and getting ready and making sure you're in the right frame of mind to when you arrive at work to be a part of a team. And so at home, around the dinner table, or just basic conversation, or when you walk in the door, your greetings. And also, how do you work with an individual maybe that's not having such a good day? And this basically relates right into a customer that's not having a good day, or a customer that maybe has a need. So that interactive piece, whether it's in the school, whether it's in a home, constant interaction, practicing, modeling, lots of different possibilities are right in front of you every day. And that it's very, very important that you have an opportunity to take advantage of that.
Thank you. Those are some, great tips and suggestions, especially around building those customer service and those teamwork skills. So what advice or tips would you give to a student or young adult who's just entering the workforce or preparing to enter the workforce?
I go back to the basics. My advice is to make sure you're ready for a job. Make sure you really want a job. Make sure that you're ready to sell yourself. And to walk in the door confident, and take the time, and don't be afraid to share your dreams. Don't be afraid to tell people really what you want out of life. And it doesn't have to be the job you're interviewing for. But make sure that give the employer a chance to get to know you, with reasonable boundaries, of course. But let them get to know the fact that they would be hiring a good person, and your value, as far as them hiring you, your value is more than whatever that job may be that they're interviewing you for. Your value is to help them build the culture, and quite honestly, be very competitive in the marketplace, because it's very, very hard for my competitors to compete with the culture of my hotel. It's going to be very, very difficult. Anyone can paint a wall, change a wall, renovate, but I challenge anybody to compete with our culture of what we have. And a large part of that has to do with these programs.
Yeah. Well, that's really great advice about, being your authentic self, showing who you are to your employer and during an interview. Thank you for that. So we know that students and individuals with disabilities have really unique skills and abilities that are assets to businesses. So to close us out today, can you share how your hotel has benefited from having student interns and employees with disabilities?
First of all, you heard me say many times, the culture of what we have here at the hotel and other hotels that I have some influence over, the attitude that a person brings to the workplace that really truly wants a job and hasn't been given an opportunity, in their life, and yet we give them this opportunity. And that attitude of, I can't wait to get to work, I can't wait to tackle the next assignment, that attitude is so contagious. So very, very contagious. And quite honestly, years ago, I didn't realize this. This is just something that happened. When you have an individual that's less physically able or less able potentially in the start to handle something, a situation or a job task, and yet they work really hard at it, and then they succeed in handling that job task, and you see that you really have more ability potentially than maybe they do, maybe physical ability or what have you. It motivates everyone to want to participate. That's very much a winning culture. And quite frankly, it's not only with our employees, it's also with our customer base. I've had many customers through the years, tell me how much they appreciate the fact that they recognize that we are a very diverse workplace, and we believe everyone has something to give. And quite honestly, again, it's sort of part of my secret weapon, if you will.
Well, thank you for sharing some of those benefits and that insight. Scott, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us and giving some much needed perspective to students who are still at home preparing for their futures, and to educators and parents who are supporting their journey to success. So thank you.
Absolutely, Jacqueline. Thank you much.
So for those that have tuned in, check out our latest Fast Fact on employer tips for preparing for the workforce. For additional transition information and resources, don't forget to check out CTI's website and sign up for our weekly news blast. Also, if you haven't done so already, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And again, thank you so much for joining CTI's Transition Tips.